2 News Works for You starts right now. Live from the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon, a run to remember.
The 13th Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon is underway. We're going to be here live for the next 4 hours right here on Channel 2. Good morning from Oklahoma City. I'm Russ McCaskey.
And I'm Carol Larson. We're so glad you're up with us this morning. It's a very special morning here in Oklahoma City, the 13th annual Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon.
This race was started as a fundraiser for the Oklahoma City Memorial. That memorial is free to the public, and one of the reasons it's free is because of fundraisers like this.
Absolutely. Now, the memorial was opened on the 5th anniversary of the bombing back in 2001, and the site was dedicated by President George W. Bush just a few years later, I should say, on 2001, and it's a 3.3-acre memorial site, and of course it encompasses the symbolic memorial displays and all of the 168 glass-based chairs, reflecting pool, and of course the survivor tree as well. Now we are positioned right near the finish line, and you can just see over our corner they're kind of practicing, some kids running through and just hearing the cheers early on, but we'll be certainly hearing them a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement out here today. There's no doubt about it. It is a very, very special day. You know, this race started at 6:30 this morning. Temperature for Taft, by the way, was 50 degrees, and with the dew point, according to my phone, said it felt like about 46 out here. It's still a chilly morning, but that's actually probably a pretty good thing for runners. They're enjoying this. The race will end at 12th and Broadway, just below us. There is the course along the way. There are crowds cheering on runners who by now are well into their race.
And of course, 2 News reporter Liz Bryant is at the starting line for us, and we're going to check in with her right now. Liz?
Hey, good morning, Karen. It's just amazing here. There's a lot of excitement, and really there's no fear at all. However, I do want to take you back to about 5:30 this morning when runners were starting to get here, because you could tell that there was a lot of somberness. I mean, there was a lot of love around here, just to remember what we're all here for. We're here to remember the 168 lives lost, as well as the Boston bombing victims. And when these runners were departing from their spouses, say it was a husband and wife, you know, they would make sure they said, "I love you, have a great run," and they would embrace before they departed. So that's kind of the mood down here. But we are at the starting line where you can see there are no runners, because they all took off, even the marathon runners, the half marathon runners, and the 5K runners, and even the relay runners. Now, we will stay here as the kids marathon is underway in just a minute. Also, I want to show you just some of the debris that people have left their items around here. And another thing coming up on our next hit, I'm going to show you all the security that's around here, because we have people on the roofs as well as the helicopters buzzing around us, and just a ton of law enforcement out here. At the starting line this morning, Liz Bryant, 2 News Works for You.
All right, thank you, Liz. Of course, this is a memorial race. It is a run to remember. So every year before the race happens, there is a ceremonial prayer.
I have found it very meaningful.
The prayer is done at the survivor tree to remember the victims and survivors of the Oklahoma City bombing and to honor their families as well. They then observe 168 seconds of silence to remember each of those who perished during the bombing. And this is really a race with a purpose, no doubt about it. Mentioned the weather a little bit earlier. It's pretty good for runners, but it's a little chilly up on top of a roof, isn't it?
I admit, I have a few layers on. We'll be peeling those off as the morning goes on. But you know, of course, the weather is certainly an element in the race. And we want to check back in with meteorologist Taft Price for the latest on the weather in the Green Country as well as here in Oklahoma City. Taft?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yes, a little bit cool down in Oklahoma City right now. We're sitting at 46 degrees there in the state capital, 46 as well over in Norman. So it is a cool start, but we're going to see temperatures warm nicely through the morning hours. So the runners are going to enjoy some warmer weather here over the next hour or two. Here in eastern Oklahoma, we're generally running in the low 50s. We're at 50 in Tulsa, 50 in Pryor, 53 in Muskogee. And as we move through the day, we're going to see temperatures warm well into the 70s. A few locations possibly near 80 degrees out to our west. Viper 2 HD, it is all quiet, so we don't have to worry about rain in eastern Oklahoma or for the runners down at the marathon this morning. Karen, definitely some good news there. Back to you.
So much. Now, in that sea of runners this morning, you will find a husband and wife team. Michael and Chow Smith drove down from Kansas City. Now, they're determined to run a marathon and finish it.
The day before, we were in a celebratory mood, knowing that she was going to be running one of the most famous races in the world.
Michael Smith's wife, Chow, qualified for Boston, even practiced her pose at the finish line the day before the race. While she ran, he took pictures.
The camera was directly trained on the flags where the first bomb was planted. And at that point, I didn't know what was going on. I was still pretty excited about seeing the runners. And then when the bomb went off, I was terrified because I didn't know where Chow was.
Like hundreds of other runners, she had only 1 mile to go, wondering what happened and still hoping to finish.
But then the second bomb gone off, and then everybody knew that our dream of to finish the line is over.
I know I was sad, of course, but then angry at times, thinking about who would do this to us. And then the next day when she was holding that picture, we were walking and just still trying to absorb everything that went on.
So they returned home to Kansas City and grieved until Chow spotted the invitation from Oklahoma City to finish her race.
And then we realized that that's a memorial run there for all the people that died in that particular bombing, and it all seemed right.
This time, Michael's running with Chow in the race to remember.
I think that it's a right place for me to experience that, and hopefully I can bring some peace.
We'd like to celebrate getting past something that's been an awful thing in our lives, and maybe bonding with those people that are there and celebrate. And we're all Americans, and we're all bound by our common citizenry and citizenship, I should say, and looking forward to running that and then run forever, hopefully.
We going to show them that nothing going to stop us.
They are definitely determined to finish the race, Russ. Now, there are about 6 runners from all across the country who are running the race today who didn't get to finish in Boston. I was very fortunate to talk to 3 of those runners, and we'll be hearing from a young girl from Connecticut a little bit later, as well as a woman from Garland, Texas, who drove up to be in the race as well. They really want to celebrate and move forward.
And finish the race, and we certainly wish them all the best, and we're glad that they're here. You know, when Boston was rocked by explosions, the world watched in horror and shock. Here in Oklahoma, we held these victims and survivors close in our hearts because we've been there before.
And 2 News reporter Michelle Lowry really says that Oklahoma has set the standard for being strong in the face of terror.
April 19th, 1995.
Tremendous devastation, a lot of confusion going on right now.
A truck bomb shears off half of the 6-story Murrah Federal Building.
Seemed like the whole world ended.
We've cried and everything else, but right now we're just waiting. They're inside the building, hopefully alive.
Family and strangers alike, watching the unthinkable unfold, held out that hope for survival, but it was not to be for 168 men, women, and children, including Catherine Burkett's son.
They found him 5 days later, and that was pure torture.
In those torturous 5 days, heroes rushed in.
I am here today because of one of those heroes and first responders, Police Officer Terry Yakey.
Rescue efforts became a difficult search for bodies. The National Guard braced for looting that never happened.
What did happen? People held each other in arms and prayers. Wounds began to heal, though our hearts were marked forever. The Murrah building site became a memorial.
It is about sharing the impact that so many of us suffer from. It is about telling the story of something that we will truly never forget.
We will never forget.
Because the end result here is that we can survive. There is resilience, and that we can survive and move forward, but we'll never forget.
A place of grief, but also a place of healing and hope.
We do enjoy coming out here and seeing our families, that we've gotten to know through the years. And
it's just a peaceful place now.
Peace. Through the moments, weeks, and years following 9:02 a.m., April 19th, 1995, Oklahomans became a shining example to the world that someone can knock us down, and that's part of life. Helping each other back up is living. Michelle Lowry, 2 News works for you.
Michelle, beautifully said. Now, we do want to remember that 168 people were killed. Almost 700 others were injured that day. 19 of those that we lost were children, the youngest only 3 months old. More than 450 were left homeless. 7,000 ended up without a place to work.
Yeah. And it really is remarkable how Oklahoma has bounced back, not just Oklahoma City, but the entire state. This is the 13th Memorial Marathon in Oklahoma City. We're going to continue our live coverage in just a few moments. Right now, we're going to send it back to Tulsa, get you updated on news and information, and we'll be back with more right after this break. And welcome back to our live coverage of the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon, the 13th Memorial Marathon in Oklahoma City, the Run to Remember. It is a very special day, of course, the first major marathon since the Boston Marathon bombings. We've had a great day here so far.
We really have. Over 24,000 runners on the course for the full marathon, half marathon, the relay races, and the 5K as well. And it's interesting to note that 44 of the runners on the course today have run it all 13 years. So in all actuality, Russ, they've racked up over 3,500 miles pounding the pavement through Oklahoma City.
A lot of dedication, no doubt about that.
Now, as we're celebrating this beautiful day and we're looking ahead, it's a race also to remember. But today we're actually going to look back for a moment and remember what happened in Boston just 13 days ago. You know, hundreds of people along the race course in Boston just really watched in horror as those bombs went off, and millions across the country watched as well.
2 News reporter Pete Knutson has more on the 3 who lost their lives in Boston.
On the days following that horrible Monday, in 8-year-old Martin Richards' Boston neighborhood, the sun was bright, the breeze gentle, the flowers blooming. On the front porch of his home, a single candle burned, and a silent grief filled the streets. Martin was the bomber's youngest victim.
It's a very close-knit community here, and we are all just devastated.
Amid the smoke, fog, and chaos on what was supposed to be a fun-filled marathon Monday afternoon.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Young Martin was dead, killed by the blast as he joyfully cheered runners alongside his parents and 2 siblings. His 6-year-old sister, as well as his mom, were badly injured. His father and brother okay. Their neighborhood family devastated.
We have to stay together as a family and love each other.
So too must the family and friends of Lou Lingza and Crystal Campbell. Hundreds of people lined the streets and packed a church in Medford, Massachusetts for Crystal's funeral. The mother of one of Crystal's many friends was one of those who waited outside the church, who wanted to be there, needed to be there, to honor the bombing victim.
Because she brought so much warmth and love to everybody, you know, it's just unbelievable.
Beyond belief as well for Lou's family. At Boston University, a memorial service for the student from China, lovingly described as sweet-hearted, passionate about piano, her studies, and life.
You indeed brought bright sunshine and sweetness to me and everyone who knew you. I am so grateful that even though our time together was much shorter than I expected to be, that time was truly special.
Honoring the victims and their loved ones, folks who certainly can't understand, may never understand why it happened, but do understand they need to be strong and brave and never bow to terror. Pete Knutson, 2 News works for you.
Thank you, Pete. Now, on the course today, there are 6 runners who were in Boston and were unable to finish their marathon there. They are running to remember those who were lost in Boston today. But you know, running a marathon takes a tremendous amount of hydration and food to keep those runners solid through 26.2 miles along the course. We want to show you the marathon by the numbers today. Race volunteers are going to pass out 440,000 cups of water today, over 20,000 bananas, close to 16,000 oranges, and over 250 cases of cookies. And I'll tell you, Russ, if you've run 26.2 miles, you get to eat as many cookies as you want after that race.
You can eat anything you want, no doubt about it. You know, hundreds of people running today in the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon are from the Tulsa and the Tulsa area. They had a warm-up run earlier this week in support of the folks in Boston. 2 News reporter Dan Perlman talked with some of those runners about what makes today so special.
Lori Wassam is no stranger to marathons.
It will be my 8th.
Neither is Nikki Seiler.
No, I've ran Oklahoma City for the last several years.
This year, though, Kathy Hunter is trying something new.
It'll be my first half marathon.
The Broken Arrow woman just started running last year.
I'm going to be thinking about, just as my coach tells me, one foot in front of the other.
She will also be thinking about the victims in Boston. She watched the coverage.
I wept like a child.
Let's go 11! And on Monday, she teamed up with hundreds of runners, including Nikki and Lori, for a different run, a much shorter one. This
We Are Unstoppable.
We Are Unstoppable run hosted by Fleet Feet. For Lori, this was a no-brainer.
We want to show our support that we stand strong, that running is going to keep going no matter what happens.
Great. Thanks a lot. All of the runners bought T-shirts with the We Are Unstoppable slogan on the front. All of the money raised is going to the victims in Boston. These runners see each other as a close, tight-knit community.
Every run I've ever been on, I usually at least make a few new friends and learn more about someone else, you know.
They know what happened in Boston could have happened to them.
I just feel like I could have easily been in that same position, and I don't want to give up that right to run.
If anything, seeing the bombings has inspired them more.
It's on. It is on. That's what I said.
I have a Boston Red Sox T-shirt already that's ready to go.
Today, their minds will be on Boston.
But I think people are resilient, so.
While these women do what they love.
It's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome feeling, and I'm real excited about the half marathon.
As for these We Are Unstoppable shirts, customers bought all of them, and Fleet Feet was able to raise more than $15,000 for Boston. Dan Perlman, 2 News, works for you.
Dan, thanks. You know, they sold out of that first run of those shirts on Monday. In about 10 minutes, it seemed like they did the reorder. And then, as Dan mentioned, $15,000. That goes to a charity that the Boston Marathon has designated. It'll help pay for people's hospital bills and those kinds of things.
That is wonderful. Well, we want to check in with Sports Director Big Al Jerkins. He has a very special VIP, the Oklahoma City Mayor, with him right now. Al?
Well, guys, I first met this guy. He was a sportscaster here in town. Now he's a bigwig in Oklahoma City, the mayor, Mick Cornett. Welcome. What a beautiful day.
I don't think we could have drawn it up any better than this, and so many people out here enjoying it.
Late night for a lot of folks in this state watching the Thunder. They didn't start till 8:30, and what a ball game, right? 11:30. So I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised so many people are out here this early.
We're still waiting for Kevin Durant's three-pointer to come down. What a game. And our hockey team won last night, too. The Barons are now in the playoffs, 1 game apiece. So it's a fun time, good weekend for us.
Not only is this a great moment for Oklahoma City, but a great moment for the state of Oklahoma. 24,000 runners from all over. And I noticed the top 9 of the top 10 finishers are Oklahomans from last year. But what an amazing race, and so much emotion involved in this as well.
It draws runners from all over this country and several other countries as well. So there's a tourism angle to it. It turns into the largest fundraiser for the memorial, which does not receive any federal money to keep its operations going. So it's become important on a lot of different levels. But more than anything else, it's just one more reason that we need to remember what happened here in 1995. And our citizens and the state of Oklahoma, as you mentioned, have certainly embraced it.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, what the tragedy that happened in Boston, I've never seen so many Red Sox fans since I was last at Fenway Park.
I got mine on, although with my long long pants on here, you can't really see. Here, I know he wants to
there you
chill
go.
down.
See
that?
Yeah.
I usually don't show my legs on television.
That's a good thing too, Mick. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, and so I'm still a little bit upset about the 1912 World Series, but I'm willing to support the Red Sox in Boston today.
All right, Mick. Thanks so much for being with us, and congratulations on another great event.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll be back with more of the Oklahoma City Run to Remember Marathon when we come back. Stay with us.
2 News Works for You starts right now. Live from the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon, a run to remember.
Good morning and welcome back to our live coverage. We've been here from 7 o'clock this morning. We will be here until 11 a.m. I'm Karen Larson along with Russ McCaskey, and we're so glad that you've joined us this morning.
Absolutely. 4 hours of live coverage of the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon. It is the first major marathon in America since the Boston Marathon and the explosions there. This has been an incident-free event. People are having fun. People are enjoying themselves. This is the way this race should be.
And our first winner has just come in across the race, or across the finish line, I should say, and we are still waiting for some of the other elite runners to come in. The others that you're seeing here are those who are some of the relay members, as well as the half marathon racers who are coming in and really starting to cross the finish line. We want to check in with Big Al Jerkins. He is down at the finish line for us. Al?
Well, a very special couple. They haven't been running a long time. In fact, Garrett Schwab here is in his first half marathon, and his soon-to-be wife, who is now, turn around, the future Mrs. Schwab, also ran in her half marathon. And not only that,
what's
this
next?
young man proposed last night. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was an exciting night.
Were you surprised?
Very, very surprised.
Was he in his running outfit when he proposed?
No.
I wasn't. I was out at Lake Hefner, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. How romantic.
It was very romantic.
So I take it on every anniversary, you're going to be running in a half marathon, or you think you'll get up to the marathon part?
This one. Every year, this one.
Okay, that's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's congratulations. That's terrific. Now, you're from Midland, Texas, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're from Edmond. How did you two meet?
We met in college at OU. I was a senior and she was a freshman through a student ministry. So.
Well, that's terrific. Congratulations. Now, the half marathon, you decided this is going to be your specialty?
Yes, sir. I'm going to try each year.
Oh, that's terrific. Well,
Thank
congratulations.
you.
Where's the honeymoon going to be? The Boston Marathon?
We don't know yet. We'll see.
To be continued.
Yes. Thanks again.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. All right. How about that? Celebrating. Now, every anniversary, they'll be in Oklahoma City for the Oklahoma Run to Remember. That wraps it up from here. Let's send it back upstairs.
Al, thanks. Young love. How about these kids today?
Romance on the race course.
That's right. You know, the weather has been absolutely fantastic today. We started today, it was pretty chilly, about 50 degrees here in Oklahoma City. It's warming up pretty quickly.
I've shed one layer of the jacket, just as I know the racers do that. They start with multiple layers and gloves and peel stuff off as they go. Let's check in with Taft Price back in Tulsa for the latest on the weather here and in Tulsa. Taft?
And good morning, guys. Yes, we're seeing some temperatures warming nicely after starting off cool this morning in the 40s and low 50s. Those temperatures are really starting to jump up now with a lot of sunshine. Viper 2 HD pretty quiet across the state. Don't expect any rainfall whatsoever for the rest of the day. We did see the clouds through the day yesterday into most of the overnight, but as they moved on out, we saw temperatures quickly drop into the 40s, but now with the sunshine, a nice warm up. Off to the east, that's where the rain is located at the present time. It's going to stay well to our east for today. Now, temperatures are warming nicely. We're at 54 in Oklahoma City, 56 right now in Tulsa, and temperatures in the upper 50s across most areas. Now, as we move through today, we're going to see abundant sunshine nearing 80 degrees. I have even warmer temperatures in the 7-day planner. It's coming up in just a couple minutes. Russ and Karen, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Taft. Well, while the world watched in shock and horror as the bombs went off in Boston, Oklahomans held the victims and the survivors very, very close to our hearts. We know what that is like after the Murrah bombing back in 1995.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been there before. We've walked that walk. 2 News reporter Michelle Lowry shows us how Oklahoma set the standard for being strong in the face of terror.
April 19th, 1995.
Tremendous devastation, a lot of confusion going on right now.
A truck bomb shears off half of the 6-story Murrah Federal Building.
Seemed like the whole world ended. We've cried and everything else, but right now we're just waiting. They're inside the building, hopefully alive.
Family and strangers alike, watching the unthinkable unfold, held out that hope for survival, but it was not to be. for 168 men, women, and children, including Catherine Burkett's son.
They found him 5 days later, and that was pure torture.
In those torturous 5 days, heroes rushed in.
I am here today because of one of those heroes and first responders, Police Officer Terry Yakey.
Rescue efforts became a difficult search for bodies. The National Guard braced for looting that never happened.
What did happen? People held each other in arms and prayers. Wounds began to heal, though our hearts were marked forever. The Murrah Building site became a memorial.
It is about sharing the impact that so many of us suffer from. It is about telling the story of something that we will truly never forget.
We will never forget.
Because the end result here is that we can survive. There is resilience, and that we can survive and move forward, but we'll never forget.
A place of grief, but also a place of healing and hope.
We do enjoy coming out here and seeing our families, you know, that we've gotten to know through the years. And it's just a peaceful place now.
Peace. Through the moments, weeks, and years following 9:02 a.m., April 19th, 1995, Oklahomans became a shining example to the world that someone can knock us down, and that's part of life. Helping each other back up is living. Michelle Lowry, 2 News works for you.
Michelle, thanks. We know that 168 people were killed, almost 700 others injured that day. 19 of those killed were children, the youngest just 3 months old. More than 450 people were left homeless, and 7,000 were left without a place to work.
We are running to remember, and some are running very, very fast. In fact, the winner is with our own Big Al Jerkins right now. Al?
I don't know, do you want my hat on? Oh, okay, we're here, and I have the winner with us, the defending champion, as a matter of fact, Jake Bueller, who ran 2:27:30, about almost over a minute faster this time.
Yes, it was. I was really pleased with that. You know, the weather turned out to be as ideal as it could for this time of the year. I felt really good about mile 18, and I just kept going with it. So,
special motivation this time, being the last year's champion, and with so much emotion involved in not only this run, but what happened in Boston. You just feel that kind of emotion as well when you run?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I came out here with the same intention, same goals as last year. You know, with what happened 2 weeks ago, as well as what this event is, you know, really run for, definitely put significance on the event to go out and remember that, as well as, you know, go out there and compete, you know, personal goal as well as the marathon goals too. And just remembering.
I'm sorry, your little one was wearing red socks as well, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah, we got him out here supporting as well. You know, that's the whole main reason we're all out here. So celebrating life, celebrating, you know, everything that happened, and just remembering is the most important thing. So
when do you get him to start running?
As soon as he can start walking, really, you know, crawling or walking, whatever happens first. So.
Jake, congratulations, great run. What was the course like? Did it seem a little bit different this time around than a year ago, even though it was basically the same course?
Not so much. They changed it. They did a good job of monitoring the changes. It was real subtle. I mean, just slight turns here and there, but overall it was about the same course. So.
You said by mile 18 you felt like you were on a special run here. What told you that, mentally or physically?
Mostly mentally. I mean, I feel like you could train physically till 20 or so, and then from there it's kind of a mental game. And I've grown through experience of failing and, you know, messing up on certain marathons, learning how to run a correct marathon. And so I think it was more of a mental game at that point.
You've got to be proud of Oklahoma runners here, right? 9 of the first 10 finishers a year ago were from Oklahoma, and it looks like that trend will continue today.
Yeah, I mean, the sport of distance running, especially in America, is picking up. I mean, standards for Olympic trials, things like that are picking up as well as in Oklahoma. It's, you know, the sport's catching on and people are really getting into it, so it's awesome.
Well, Jake, congratulations. We're proud of you, and continued solid running throughout your career.
Thank you very much.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Jake Bueller, the winner of the Oklahoma City Run to Remember Marathon. Let's send it back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Big Al. Such an exciting time. You know, there's just an energy as you're near the finish line.
Yeah, there really is. They got food going down here. We're smelling that. That's great. But, you know, it's interesting when you hear a marathon runner talk about the mental aspect of it. So many people just only think about the physical because it is a grueling endurance sport, but mentally, to be in the game and realize what your body's doing and how you can push it is really remarkable what these people do.
It really is. Well, 2 News reporter Liz Bryant is in the grandstands right now. She started over at the finish line, moved over here. Liz, what do you have for us?
Hey Hey, good morning, Karen. It has a ton of excitement and cheers in this grandstand. And I'm joined by one family who just minutes ago, you cheered in your husband and your daughter at the same time. Good morning, Bridget.
Good morning.
What kind of proud mother are you right now for your daughter and your husband to be in?
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
I want to stress, it's a very, very emotional time right now. And
I'm very proud of both of them. I'm very proud of them. This is my husband's second time doing it. It's my daughter's first. Both of them have had knee surgery. My husband's had ankle surgery. He's in the Army. Been in the Army for 22 years. So I'm proud of both of them. I think it's great.
But it's when they cross the finish line. I mean, I wanted to cry with you just because you're so proud.
I am proud of them. It takes a lot of dedication and training to make it through this. So,
and you're also wearing a special significant shirt today.
My oldest daughter, who actually just ran her first half marathon, had these made shortly after the bombing in
says remembering OKC, remembering Boston, running for OKC, running for Boston, and running for peace.
Right.
Especially at this time.
Right. It's very symbolic of what's going on right now. And we just thought it was appropriate because that's why they're running. So.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Karen and Russ, back to you.
All right, Liz, thanks. You know, it really says something when you look at the crowd that's out there. People out there to support their friends and loved ones who are running, also remembering those people who perished here in Oklahoma City 18 years ago. And it's a great energy. And there have been people out here since, I think, about 6:20. I think that I saw some of the first people get in the grandstand.
They were sitting there waiting for the first ones to cross, no doubt about it. Well, we are, of course, continuing our live coverage of the Memorial Marathon. But we also want to bring you the news and weather of the day, and we'll have that for you next. Welcome back to our live coverage from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. We are live from the Oklahoma City National Memorial Marathon.
It has been an absolutely wonderful morning, incident-free. It's a beautiful day. Some 24,000 people participating in the marathon. There's volunteers everywhere helping out the runners, helping make sure this event goes smoothly. That's a big thing. And then security has been amazing. Everything has gone as planned, perhaps even better than organizers had hoped.
If you hadn't paid much attention to the Memorial Marathon before this, we want to tell you that there are actually 5 races that make up the marathon itself. We want to show you a look at the marathon by the numbers, if you will. Race 1 is the marathon, which is, of course, 26.2 miles. There's also a 5-person relay race covering the entire marathon course, and many ran a half marathon. That's 13.1 miles.
Yeah, some are running the Memorial 5K, which is 3.1 miles, and then there's a Memorial Kids Marathon. Children run 25 miles before today, and then out here with everybody running, they run the last 1.2 miles on a special kids marathon course. So it involves everyone, young and old. Anyone can participate in it. It's an amazing event. Pick your distance, and you can either be part of a team or do it on your own.
It's been an exciting day. Jake Bueller, who is an OU dental student, won the men's race. And then, of course, Tulsa's own Mikhail Davis ran for the women. This is her first full marathon that she was competing in, and she won the half marathon last year. Said she told her grandmother that she wanted to be on TV again for her grandma.
And she made it. She was on TV again. And she actually said, from our I guess this is not official, but it appears to us that she set a course record for the females.
She definitely beat last year's, the women's marathon. Catherine Lyle of Oklahoma City ran it about 20 seconds slower, so we're hoping she did even better.
Yeah, hopefully so. So it's been a great day. We want to check in with Big Al Jerkins, our sports director. He's live down street level. Al, how are things going down there? You already talked to Barry Switzer. Who you got now?
I'm waiting on another winner as we speak, but I'm still amazed at the flow of people that continue through the finish line. As you guys mentioned, over 24,000 runners in this race, and I'm trying to keep track of how many runners are still out there. And just to my right is the display of medals, and there's still a whole lot of medals to be awarded. So I'm guessing that perhaps we still have about at least 5,000 runners to go before this day, but it has been an exciting day, and just about everybody that I have talked to has run with emotion today, and you can understand why. Jake Bueller, he was very proud of his time, but he was even more proud to be able to win in his home state. And of course, Mikhail Davis, who won the half marathon a year ago, decided, hey, what the heck, I'm going to go for the full enchilada. And she won the marathon today from Stillwater, who also runs out of the Tulsa Runner Club. So we still have another hour or so of broadcast for you. Again, the winning time was a 2:26:15 for Jake Buhner, and the women's final time was 2:53:30. And again, behind me, you can see several runners continue to flow through the finish line. And I must tell you, you know, we talked earlier about the medical aspect of it. And again, we're standing right next to the medical lane. And granted, a few folks had to be taken by wheelchair to the medical tent. But I got to tell you, who says we're out of shape? Well, I'm out of shape, but these folks sure aren't. And they have proven that they can get it done on a very special day in Oklahoma. Let's send it back to you guys.
No doubt about that, Al. And earlier, if you were watching our coverage, we had video of an ambulance that was working, the crew from the ambulance was working on a runner who had collapsed. It happened about a mile from the finish line. They gave him CPR. He's in his 30s, and he's in good condition now. We're happy to report that. That's really about the only incident we've had. I have seen a couple of people who absolutely collapsed once they finished the finish line just from exhaustion. But again, as Al mentioned, medical staff's been amazing.
Well, it's very, very difficult to run 26.2 miles. These runners run 90 to 120 miles a week to prepare for this. And in fact, there are 6 runners on the course today who were in Boston just 13 days ago and ran almost to the finish line. Well, one in particular, Diane Scherer from Garland, Texas, says she almost didn't even run Boston because she had an injury.
Well, I had trained for Boston. I was a qualifier for Boston, and I ran the Air Force Marathon, and that I was injured. So I trained, you know, as much as I could for Boston, and almost decided not to do it. But my mom had talked me into doing it. She's been ill with cancer, and so I was more worried about her. And she said, "You've been waiting for this, you know, forever. So just do it." And that was my thought, was I would just get through Boston because it's a great, you know, it's a lifetime dream. And yeah, I didn't get to finish, and then it was just total tragedy. And when I saw this Oklahoma Marathon offer for us to finish, it just all fit together. You know, the people of Oklahoma with the bombings there, and then the Boston, that I just thought it would be very appropriate.
Yes. Do you find yourself nervous at all?
Yes. Nervous in a lot of ways. Scared, you know, scared that I can't finish. Scared, of course, about the bombings, you know, and just running the marathon again is scary.
Scary because she was just a mile from where the bombs went off, the finish line in sight.
Well, we were running along, and all of a sudden we were stopped by a wall of people, you know, in front of us, not knowing, you know, what was happening, why I was stopping. And a man, just a Boston resident, came running through the crowd telling us to stop running and that there had been some explosion at the finish line.
Her husband was waiting nearby.
I was very worried, and you know, one of the men told us to just go try to get back to our hotel because we weren't going to finish. And that's when I heard people in the streets saying that it had been a huge explosion and people, you know, were killed. And so, you know, I was panicked by then, crying and, you know, just trying to get back.
2 hours later, she found him. They're both safe, and she went home to Garland, Texas with her Boston Marathon medal, but couldn't stop thinking about not finishing. So when Oklahoma City invited all Boston runners, Diane knew she could mentally close the chapter on the Boston bombing by coming here, where terror struck too.
Being in Texas, a neighbor to Oklahoma, you know, I remember when all of that happened, and it makes me sad that, you know, life is so tragic sometimes and sad. But yeah, there's so many good people and things, and the runners I meet, and the, you know, the people, the bystanders. A marathon is just such a great event and a good way to honor those people that died and were injured.
She's running with a friend and determined to finish.
I really just want to remember, what happened, get through the race. And she ran Boston, and I ran Boston one year. She ran it in 2011. So we're just hoping to, share this time and to show the people of Oklahoma that, we in some way understand what they've been through, and, that we're all in this together.
We are all in this together, no doubt about it. Now, I've been kind of trying to watch the finish line here and there because I just know in the next 20 minutes or so, Diane is going to be crossing that finish line. As determined as she was, I just know she's going to finish this marathon.
She definitely will make it. We're going to continue watching the finish line here and watching the race. We are continuing coverage. We'll continue in just a few minutes. Right now, though, we're going to send it back to the studio. We're going to get you caught up on the day's news stories, and Taft Price will have your Sunday forecast. That coming up in just a moment after this break. Stay with us.